right, so we've talked about the problem and how you come out and you assess it from the building envelope. First entering the front doors, going to the floor. You've observed all these problems. You can notice the negative issues, not getting good throws, fans running almost maxed out, all the different stuff you find out. But the funny part is there is a solution.
Correct.
So let's talk about the solution and the results that the solution brings, because I think it'll open people's eyes how great the solutions are, especially in this day and age of things going on.
You're right, Dave. It never ceases to amaze me, the results we get. I've been doing this for many years, and every project is different. The results are generally the same. We're always successful. Never lost a patient, as they say. So let's go back to our 5-story building here. We ended up getting contracted to take care of this building.
And they were asking us to perform our program that we call static recovery.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. We saw this would be the solution for their HVAC system. I went in, benchmarked all the readings, got out the mechanical drawings, the M1 equipment schedule, and looked at all the design parameters. Took the measurements on all the floors, at the air handler themselves, the static pressures. We went in, we repaired the duct leakage, hundreds of points of leakage, found them all, sealed everything up very nicely.
It's just stuff that's just over time and from TI work and just things that just got old and seals break and different stuff.
The old mastics that were used back when these buildings were built have outlived their lifespan. Yeah. They've desiccated, they're falling off, and there wasn't much on the system either. There's certain areas of the country that duct sealant isn't used as much as in other areas of the country. So we went in and we solved the problem as far as the duct leakage. The amazing results that we came back with were initially we had barely 0.65 inches of static pressure, very low for a large building like this. We finished up, went back in a couple of weeks later, let the system settle down. The engineers had done some fine tuning on their zones. They were seeing that they had some minimums they had to adjust. We ended up doubling the static pressure. We're now at 1.25 inches. Before we were at 60 hertz on the air handlers, barely making a little over half an inch of static. They're now running consistently in the high 30s and low 40s, so 38 to 41 hertz, making an inch and a quarter static. The freshness of the building, the carbon dioxide readings, we're getting great ventilation. We're getting great throw. Went in and analyzed the 5th floor again with the infrared, looked for zone anomalies. Saw all the air registers were throwing very nicely. We had good mixing. Particle counts have come back. We're getting much better results from the particle counter just because there's contact time with the air filters. We've decreased the bypassing at the filter bank just because the velocities are back within design.
Slow down the fan, gives it enough time to go through there. What needs to get caught gets caught, what does, and then everything else passes through.
That's correct.
Okay.
Where we end up, besides fan energy savings, which is great, and that generally pays for the project within less than 2 years, the thermal energy savings is phenomenal because now you're making design heat transfer with the air handler and the chillers respond. Prior to our work, the building was running a 3rd unit just to help supplement the air in the afternoon. They're now running just the 2 primary air handlers at a reduced capacity. The refrigeration side of the system is saving phenomenal because we're making better delta T, differential temperature across the coil. We're right there at that sweet spot where you can have the lowest kilowatt per ton because you're getting the greatest heat transfer that it's designed to do. The other part of it here is the asset preservation side of it. If you're not running your car at 100 miles an hour down the freeway, you think it's going to last longer?
Yeah.
Okay. When you run an air handler back where it belongs, your bearings last longer, the belts, the pulleys, the air filters. There's the benefit that's not financial, but it is because you're not going to have to replace the equipment. You can also look at process stability. If you don't have variable static situations in a building, if you don't have anomalies in the delivery of it, you can really maintain what you're doing. So you might have a small medical office building where you're doing clinical work in it. You're maintaining that environment in a much more controlled manner. There's also the part of where we're doing restorative work, which gets you back up to design, but part of our process is optimizing your system. So I can tell you that we're making more static pressure sooner in the day. You don't have to start your building at 4 in the morning. You can start it at 6 a.m. and make pull down load.
So we're talking even just the energy savings, which affects operational costs.
Correct.
So you begin to see operational costs come down.
That's right.
And wear and tear
That's
on the
right.
system. Better air delivery, better CO2 exchanges going on, so you're getting fresher air. So.
Yep. And it's when you look at it, it's a operating expense that you're reducing. So your net operating cost per square foot is lowered, which is very attractive. It makes your building more leasable. If you're on the market to sell the building, you've got a very efficient operation going there. Some people choose to go with capital expenditure to perform these processes. You can use your sustainability or energy funds. This money is savings into perpetuity. Once the building is fixed, it stays fixed.
Yeah.
And that savings goes on and on.
I think, and that's our static recovery program. So there's so much benefit in it, and there's so much benefit on. A lot of times people come to us because they've got an air issue, and they're like, we need to save energy, both. But what we realize too is the air side to it of what it would offer with the better CO2 exchanges, fresh air and stuff like that, and that really got us into our safe air solutions, and what's an issue that everybody has to deal with now. And COVID really brought it to light. I don't think it was a non-issue before, because people always wanted to deliver fresh air, have a fresh air environment that people can work in and be healthy and safe in. But COVID has really heightened that. And it's interesting because there's a lot of stuff that comes out now. Even us at SI Testing, I get stuff about UV lights and filters and different ownership groups setting certain standards, like, hey, part of our message we want to deliver to the tenant coming back to work, because now we're getting back into re-employment, people coming back, is we want to guarantee safe water, safe air, cleaner environment, and all that stuff. And our safe air solutions side does that. It gives you something documented. It gives something that if I was a tenant coming in, I could see something like, hey, see, look at, we've done a process to certify or to document that we're delivering, as by design, good air to you. And that's something. Talk about that a little bit, and then talk about how somebody could even just inquire to you about it.
Sure, Dave.
To come out.
When you look at our Safe Air Solutions program, we've been living this as long as we've been sealing the ductwork. Part of our process is to quantify. Again, we're dealing with an invisible medium.
Yeah.
And this is something that's very hard to get your arms around. But with particle counts, thermal imaging, static pressures, we can identify the deliverables that you're providing to the occupied space. We go in a normal cyclical basis, like you would a fire life safety system, measure particle readings, carbon dioxide readings, static pressures, velocities. It's a continuous commissioning of your HVAC system. It provides you with the quantification of all your deliverables that you're providing to the occupied space. Gives you a document that you can say, no, this is when the filters were changed, this is how they're performing based on particle readings in real time. And this all aids in that satisfaction that you can provide to your occupant when you do repopulate that building, that you're providing the safest and best environment that can be provided, and you're checking it consistently. So that's something that we really pride ourselves in, that we have the knowledge to come in and identify and then maintain that level that we've optimized for the customer. And if anybody has any questions or just concerns, they can contact us very easily. Our phone number, website, email address.
Yeah, we'll make it known on here.
Right.
I mean, they can actually look at their floor and say, well, I sit over here. Well, John sits over there. Hey, those areas have been quantified. Those areas have been documented that we have good air delivery as by design to give you the best working environment
Right.
in that area there. So if any of you have questions, you'd like Steve to come out. We like to come out, and we call it professional courtesy. If you want us just to evaluate, if you want us just to give an assessment to say, hey, do you have an issue, or hey, is there something that we need to do to document that? Please reach out to us, and we're here to help you in any way we can. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Dave.